Alright guys, here's a look at my garden right now. It's the middle of November and it's still decently warm outside, and we've had rain for like the past week. This was my first part of my fall garden, which didn't turn out very well so far. If you remember at the end of summer, I tried planting another cantaloupe plant, which has pretty much died. And this is the cantaloupe I got from it, but it doesn't look like it's had the chance to ripen, and that it's just because it didn't stay hot for long enough, I don't think. The rest of this is spinach and lettuce that I planted. I planted them within the time frame suggested, but they just haven't wanted to do anything. They just wanted to sprout. And the same thing with the beets I tried planting. And these carrots might still have a chance. But the one marigold that survived all the problems I had this year finally has a flower. And a second one will soon join it. This bucket is a bucket of flower seeds that I just sprinkled from the ones that bloomed throughout the year. This was supposed to be lettuce, and it tried sprouting, but it's done little more than what's in the round bed. This is a bucket of late planted annuals. I had fun sorting the seeds, and I was like, well, it's late, but I'm gonna plant them and see what happens. And this is what's happened. This was supposed to be spinach, but I found a couple of little tomato plants growing in it. I guess that's from some of the compost or something. But nothing really. The only spinach is in the top left there. The rest of it's weeds. So I guess that part of my fall garden this year isn't doing too well. Here are my carrot plants. They took forever to get going, but they look like they're doing really well now. This is the original bucket of flowers that I had. The cornflowers died off, but these little yellow flowers I've had all year sure are sticking around. Over here's my original strawberry plant and one that came off of a runner. I didn't get any fall berries, even though it was supposed to be an ever-bearing plant and have a second season. I don't know enough about strawberries to guess why. This is another of the runner plants that came from the main one I got. I will soon be figuring out how to overwinter container strawberries, or if it's even necessary with living where I do. Over here is my jalapeno plant. Now, I cleared off my pepper plants yesterday just because they seemed like they weren't doing anything more with the limited amount of sunlight we're now getting. But the thing with the jalapenos is that they have been just snapping off when they're ready to come off, and there were a few that weren't ready to snap off, so I just left them, and I'll get them soon. And both of these round buckets have green bean plants in them, and I've already harvested a small handful. And these are the second set that I planted about 2 weeks after the others, and you can see I've got some good sized green beans growing on these plants. And you can see there's some growing here too. And then my other new plant for fall, these are snow peas, I think, if I remember right. Some kind of peas, and they have just climbed and climbed and climbed, and they've already climbed out of the tomato cage. And I didn't really have a trellis to give them, so I just put these bamboo poles that had been with my tomatoes into them. And they seem to be climbing up those okay. Well, this one just got added today, so. And there was a pea flower. And there's another one over here somewhere. And I'm curious to see what they look like when they start making pea pods. So for now, that's my fall garden. Spinach and lettuce, not doing so well. The broccoli and cauliflower, forget about it. But the green beans, carrots, and peas seem to be doing well. I still have a bucket of marigolds. If you remember, this was where I had a tomato plant. I've gotten rid of it. With the cooler weather, and it wasn't producing anything, and well, I just decided to pull it out. But you can see I have just a ton of marigolds still, and I've been collecting the dead flower heads and collecting the seeds, and I have 2 great big envelopes full of marigold seeds for next year. So hopefully I'll have a whole bunch more. This is one of my basil plants. It's doing really good. Here's the 2 lonely little sages that I planted back in the spring, and a little thing of oregano. My other marigolds, which have fallen kind of sideways, but they're still hanging in there. And my other basil plant. So this was another tomato bucket that I've taken the plant out of. And then this bucket is a late planting of the perennial seeds from the seeds that I sorted earlier this year. And this plant has had almost long enough to flower, so I'm kind of curious to see what it might wind up being. So that is what I have left. And I still have my pepper plants. I haven't gotten rid of them, but I don't expect them to produce anything else. And if you're wondering what kind of crazy contraption I have along the side of the house here, I've pulled all the weeds and kind of tilled up the earth underneath and layered it with cardboard to keep weeds from popping up. And in the spring, this will be a flower garden. This side will probably be all marigolds and tinctura and cornflower, like what I grew from my wildflower mix this year. But this side, I plan on actually planting some perennials and trying to actually make a flower garden here. So that's in the works for next year. Thank you for tuning in for this very late fall garden update, and I hope to see you again next year.